Hello, today I'm joined by my guest Luke Salmon from Arun Estates, and he is the head of marketing there. Luke, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to have you with us today, Luke. Head of marketing covers all sorts of different disciplines and many
Don't I know
different
it?
methods of marketing. You've still got a lovely lush head of hair there, so it hasn't caused you that amount of stress, but that's also because of the people that you work with and the people that have been backing you up. And today we're here to talk about one particular company that have been helping you, FSE Digital. For those people that perhaps haven't heard of FSC before, maybe take us on your journey, Luke. How did you first come across them, and what sort of question were they answering for you?
We are a relatively small department for the sort of the size that we are. So we were it kind of coincided with the question that we had, which is how do we effectively manage all these different, as you say, these different areas within marketing, in particular, sort of the SEO, the digital presence, which takes a lot of manpower to sort of maintain all of that. We were at the Negotiator Awards in 2023, I believe it was. And yeah, just happened to be sat on a table next to Laura and the guys at FSC. Got chatting, realized that they kind of answered the need. It was one of those serendipitous moments where there's an issue or there's a thing that needs solving, and you happen to be speaking to the right person. And yeah, just kind of instantly felt like we got on really well and felt relaxed and sort of like you could trust them really.
And so in terms of that kind of sliding doors moment there at the Negotiator Awards, then what was it that you felt was perhaps lacking in your kind of your toolkit that you were using at the time, and what were you hoping that FSC would do for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, to get somebody who is expert in SEO isn't cheap. Bringing somebody in purely to do that is always a hard sell as well to any sort of to any business. It's SEO is one of those sort of mystical forces, I suppose, isn't it? So it's always difficult to recruit somebody or to get sign off to recruit somebody to do that. And it's always a safer bet, I think, to work with a company. It's you've got then tangible results that you can either prove or unprove, disprove. And yeah, I think just working with a company who can come in, understand what you're trying to do, and actually start delivering those results. It's a low risk sort of approach to it, and it's worked for us in that moment.
It is interesting that, isn't it? Because SEO is one of those fields where there are many different experts floating around out there, and it's very hard sometimes to trust everything that they're selling. And like you say, it does to some people, it does seem like a mystical art. We know it's something that we should be doing. We all
Mhm.
feel a little bit guilty that we're not doing enough with it. I think that's an anxiety of every kind of marketing manager up and down the country is, are we on it? Are we getting the rankings that we need? You guys, interestingly, have used FSE, if I understand this correctly, to improve the sort of search rankings of certain branches as well that perhaps weren't, for whatever reason, performing as well as your kind of group average. How's that campaign worked?
Yeah, no, it's worked fantastic. I think we've got over 100 locations. We know that we've got to do better in certain ones. But as I said, it's the time, it's the effort that goes into building the on-site SEO, the Google listings in themselves. They all require so much, behind the scenes work, and it's quite often the glamorous stuff that doesn't sort of show those immediate responses, those immediate results. But yeah, I think having worked with FSE, they take you through it quite easily. They show you what they're doing. They kind of get your sign off at every step of the way. And I think quite quickly you kind of trust that they are trying to do the best by you as well. I think that's
Yeah.
that's the key bit. You kind of I have worked, as you say, I've worked with those sort of agencies in the past that they just go off for a couple of months and they come back and say, here's what's working, here's not what's working, and you kind of just feel a little bit left out in the dark. And I just haven't felt like that at all with FSC. The guys there have just been really really useful in showing you what you're doing, what they're doing behind the scenes, and as I say, demonstrating the results from it as well.
So I understand you're so pleased with the results, you're looking to perhaps bring them on to deal with other work for your group. such as mortgage matters as well. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so our mortgage arm of the business has kind of been unfortunately kind of neglected, I think, over the last few years. It hasn't been given the, as I say, we are a reasonably small team. It hasn't been given the time of day, the sort of the attention it deserves, I suppose. We're changing that this year. We're putting a lot of emphasis into a rebrand with them, and that's going to be launching in April. And yeah, we'll be working with FSE 100%. We'll be working with them to sort of help us reach new customers and grow that division of the business.
Yeah, so important in terms of branding, isn't it? And
Mm,
especially if you're putting all that effort into relaunching, and let's face it, cost as well of getting that brand right. You need
absolutely.
people to see it. It needs to get in
That's
front.
it. And it's kind of working with them to, I think, reach the areas that we wouldn't necessarily think to reach. So they've advised, or they've been able to advise, should I say, on sort of the articles that we should be writing, guides that we should be writing, things like that, that help us sort of reach different niches of the market that we perhaps wouldn't have thought about before. So it's kind of it's a really collaborative sort of partnership, I think, and I think that was one of the key things we were looking for. As I said earlier, we wanted to bring somebody in. Originally, that was the idea: bring somebody in to work on SEO with us, or for us, should I say? Um, but speaking with Laura, FSC, the guys there, we kind of immediately thought, well, this could work if we can get on as well as we have. It's almost like bringing in that extra member of the team, and
So,
it's got to
so
be
yeah,
collaborative
maybe
for it
that
to work.
that takes us on to sort of the next question would be, you've mentioned key individuals there and the fact that you collaborate so well, but on a day-to-day basis, what are they like to work with and communicate with? I take it from what you've said so far, the response is going to be glowing, but tell us a bit more about your working relationship with them.
Yeah, so we tend to work closest with Laura. She kind of manages our account. So any questions or concerns, we go straight to her, and she's can't be quick enough at responding. It's it's always really you know you're going to get a response. You're not going to be left out in the cold waiting for an answer. But equally, we're working really closely with Sam, who heads up the SEO sort of area there. And yeah, again, you asking for, we need to see this, I don't know whether it's a year-on-year report or a month-on-month or a comparison of how we were doing X work versus Y. Whatever it happens to be, he's more than happy to sort of go away and do the work in the background and kind of come back to you with the answers you need.
You've alluded there to the statistics,
Mm,
these sort of KPIs, if you like, that we all want to sort of pin our hat to here. But genuinely, these are very impressive, the sort of results that you've had since
mm.
working with FSE Digital. Do you want to sort of give us an overview of how that has enhanced what you're doing?
Yeah, yeah. So as you say, really impressive. So I've actually got them written down because I don't want to get them wrong. But we've got 2,500 more keywords we're appearing for. So, to put that as in layman terms as possible, that we're showing up for 2,500 more searches than we would have done this time last year, and that's a big deal. That's 80% more than we were.
It's a huge increase, isn't it?
Huge
Massive.
increase. And we we spent a lot of money on a new website. We spent a lot of time and effort. It was about an 18-month project. Cost us, I don't even want to get into how much it's cost us. And you say about my hairline at the beginning, it's gone back since then. But we needed to hit the ground running with this new website. We needed to make sure it was reaching the right amount of people and paying for itself. And it absolutely has. So in the year that we've worked with them, we've both increased inquiries and valuations by 21% as well. So we are generating more business off the back of this website. The more business, 21% more business than we would have been doing if we weren't working with FSC and we weren't doing the stuff that we needed to be doing
Yeah.
for SEO.
It seems fairly, uh, now that you say it, almost natural. But I think, in my conversations with agents, if I were to ask them what's the one thing that they want more than
Mm.
anything else, they will always tell me they want more valuations, they want more instructions, they want
Yeah.
more bites of that cherry, if you like. And this is a really good way of getting it. And not having somebody working on your SEO and your ranking it's the housing equivalent of having a beautiful house agreeing to put it on the market, but then saying, don't tell anybody about it. I don't want to drive any traffic to this thing.
Yeah, I
Uh,
always say your website is your shop front. It's your digital shop front. And if you had the option to put a few signs up pointing people towards it, of course you'd do it. And that's essentially what we're doing now. We're able to drive more traffic to the website. Um, and we're not, we are paying FSE for their services, but we're not paying through the nose for a per lead basis. We are building the amount of sessions that are happening on our website, and that will be sustainable moving forwards rather than this on a pay-per-click basis, or paying through one of the portals to bring those leads in. We're working a lot harder for ourselves to generate that lead directly.
so I'm going to ask you a stupid question now, but I take it based on your experiences so far that if I were to ask you whether you'd recommend this to somebody that's a non-competing agent to you,
Of
you'd
course.
nod very quickly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a no-brainer. And look, I understand that as I say, it's one of those mystic arts that you can never really justify. But I think FSC have done as good of a job as possible to sort of evidence what they can do. Not just on the year on year. That I've worked with companies in the past, and they say, let's trust the process, and we'll show you what happens at the end of the time. 12 months on, you're panicking. You've spent a small fortune trying to build the website up, and yeah, you just got to trust the process, and there's nothing worse than not knowing where you are. 6 months in with 6 months to go. I haven't felt like that at any point with FSC. I knew that when we got to the 12-month mark, we'd have some really good stats to show for it. And I know that I know that they're that it's working well, because when it came to saying to my boss, look, well, I think we need to do this for another year, there wasn't even a discussion. It was just, yeah, let's do it. Let's keep
It,
going.
it's one of those things that if you've got the right stats and you've got the right relationship and you've got those results coming through, there is a demonstrable ROI,
Mm,
basically on your investment there in this particular type of
absolutely. Yeah.
marketing. And it's great that you guys have had that experience. Luke, you mentioned earlier that when we talk about SEO, sometimes there's this sort of veil of mystique over it. Break down for us for people who just get a little bit bamboozled by what SEO is, but in terms that agents can sort of understand in terms of the services that FSE are providing to you, what sort of activities are they actually doing for you, and how is that helping?
Yeah, so obviously SEO, search engine optimization, and that's kind of all facets of search engine optimization. So we've worked with FSE to improve our on-site SEO. So going into the individual pages of our branches. We know as a company, we know that our branch pages get more traffic, combined, than our homepage. So we need to make sure that each of those branch pages almost act like a individual homepage. So the guys at FSC, they've helped us optimize those pages. Start including keywords, including key areas that Google are going to be looking for when they sort of index your page. So they've really helped with the actual development of those individual branch listings as well. So when people are searching things like estate agents in X, Y, or Z,
Yeah.
we start appearing higher for those. And I think we've appeared. Over 150 positions we've improved across the locations for those specific sort of area terms. They've also helped the listings on Google. So when you search, as I say, estate agency in area, on the right-hand side, you'll get that map, and you'll get the different areas and the different businesses appearing. So that was one of the key areas we wanted to start appearing in the sort of top three for those.
Yeah.
So, that's a number of things in terms of, replying to reviews, making sure that the FAQs are getting answered, and all those sorts of things, making sure everything's up to date. Posting within Google's social element, so posting sort of properties within Google.
Yeah.
Uh, all of that stuff, basically. And I say a number of things, that's just a handful of things, but a number of things like that help us, to start telling Google that we're a reliable and authentic sort of source. And all that sort of stuff starts to basically bring us up the rankings, really.
And that's an improvement for you guys as a group, but it's also a vast improvement for your clients as well, because you know, your visibility is getting better, but it also means that their properties and the standard of your marketing, it's reaching more people by proxy as well. So that's a superb result. When you look at the FSE team, I mean, you've mentioned sort of keywords like partnership, which is always great to hear agents talking about their suppliers like that because it feels like you're both on the same page and you're working towards a common goal. On a
Mm.
day-to-day basis, what are the FSC team like to deal with?
Yeah, no, as I say, they're brilliant. Yeah, you send an email, you have a query, you have a question. My job isn't to be an expert in anything. It's supposed to be sort of having a good understanding and surrounding yourself with the people who are experts is key. And there's never been a point where I speak to anybody at FSC where you don't feel like they're giving you a full answer, a full picture of what's going on. So yeah, asking for reports, asking for suggestions on what we should be doing. They're always more than happy to help with that. And yeah, we have monthly check-ins, but it's in no way limited to that. We check in. Well, realistically, I'm speaking to them every other day at this point. It's yeah, they're always there, and it's never too much. So it's a really good relationship.
And so for companies of a certain size, behind every great marketing manager is a great marketing team, but they also report upwards to very often a board or
Mm,
to other managers, and you need to be able to show results, don't you,
yeah.
that prove effectively that
Mm.
what you have said we need to invest in is bringing those results in. I suppose having those regular check-ins and that ability to get information to check where you're up to at any time, that takes a lot of pressure off your reporting responsibilities upwards. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think, the biggest testament you can give to the work FSC has done is that it's become a no-brainer to renew the partnership moving forward. I know that the work is working and we've got tangible results to show that. So, when it comes to that point of renewal, I can turn around and say we've got 21% more inquiries and 21% more valuations off the back of having worked with FSC for a year. And that's just not something you can quite often get, those clear cut numbers, that proof, that evidence that the things you're doing are working. And like I say, everybody understands the sort of the basic premise of SEO, but I think everyone's been sort of scorned or burnt by these cowboy SEO companies, and I think there's a lot of scar tissue around that, especially within our industry, within our company in particular. We're very skeptical about SEO, and I think what FSC has done is kind of made us believe in it again, I suppose, as corny as that sounds.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great to hear because we know it's meant to work. It's probably the single most important thing you can do. You've got a beautiful website, beautiful brand. You need to get that out there.
Mm.
And without SEO, you're just reliant on organic growth, which sometimes
Yeah,
just isn't enough on its own. Um,
absolutely.
right, Luke, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We'll let you get on with your busy day.
That's great. Cheers, David. Thank you very much.